The next thing I'm going to do is create some base meshes that we can sculpt over for the tileable textures of the floor and the walls. We're going to be creating these in a new Maya scene. In Maya, I changed my new grid to a little smaller so that we have more subdivisions here. I increased it to 40. Then I'm going to create a new plane and give it the same dimensions we gave it to like in the previous videos. We're going to put it into the corner. And I think I don't need that many pieces, or that piece is so small, so I can probably work also like this. Then I'm going to have to create a few base meshes, which I'll be creating from cubes, before I can start to work on the floor layout. Now I'm going into top view, and I'm going to create a couple variations. One that is smaller, very small one, and let's say one that is half the size of the medium one. And now I can start to lay these out onto my grids. Just like this. And I'm just placing a few of these across my grid. Just like this. And because we're using a 2D texture, the only important thing is that we need to keep this grid square, and I think it's a bit too big for the amount of pieces I'm using, so I'm going to decrease the size by a little so I don't have to place so many of these onto this grid. Let's also make one that is just a square. And for you to see a bit better what I'm doing, I'm going to give this another material like this. As soon as I reach some of the borders, I'm going to have to check if one piece goes over the edge by one on this side, that it will also cover this side here. So I have to fill the right holes and make sure nothing overlaps. So I'm going to create some different pieces for this side. Just trying to keep the shapes interesting. Okay, now I should have fixed this part. this part and this part. Now I have fixed the overlap here. I've created 2 overlaps for this part, and now I only have to fill this part with another piece. I want to increase the size of this one. Okay, now we can check if I've done it correctly. Going to take the whole thing, put the pivot onto the corner of the object, and then I'm going to copy this around and see if it tiles. And I can already see I forgot one piece. So now I'm going back and I'm putting the piece into its place. And now if I copy the whole thing, it's perfectly tileable. The last thing I'm going to do for this is to take some of the pieces and change the height. This will not be seen directly in the texture, but later if I'm going to bake my maps, I can make some color variations based on the height maps, and this will make the tiling less obvious. But this is for the second module. And now that I've done that, I can take one of the floor pieces and export it. Okay, I applied the same principle to the other 2 tileable textures we're going to be sculpting. For the wood, we only have to make sure that it's going to tile in the vertical way. So this is a lot easier for you to create. And for the bricks, it has to tile only horizontally. And again, this is also easier to create than the floor texture. And I guess you can make up your own shapes and own variations as you like. And once you've done that, we can almost begin with sculpting. Of course, we need to still export these. It's going to be my wood. And this is going to be my wall. And this concludes the tutorial on setting up the tileable textures.